Hey, it's Nancy from Nancy Chu Homes at Keller Williams and J Metro Group. Good morning, guys. So, I wanted to spend a little bit of time today and talk a little bit about, well, you know what? I'm going to preface this with some definitions. And the first definition is going to be the difference between what is a first time home buyer, an investor, and what we call an equity seller buyer. Okay. If you're a first time home buyer, that's pretty self explanatory. You're entering into the market for the first time, you've never owned anything before. Traditionally, those folks might be a little bit younger, starting off in their careers, looking to purchase their first property. Okay. Investors, we all know, is a different ballgame. They can be institutional, they can just be regular people who are looking to invest. They are often cash heavy, so they might choose to purchase more in greater cash percentages, or they're perhaps using hard money, or they're pulling equity out from other things, but they have sometimes institutional money to work with. And if they're using if they're using mortgages, then obviously their interest rate is usually a little bit higher unless they're doing some other product, right? But the most important person, I think, is the equity seller buyer, right? This is a person who currently owns a property, right? And they want to sell this property. They've got equity in this property and they want to use this equity to help them purchase the next property. This is someone that you traditionally think of as like the move up, person, or even the downsizer person, but they imply that they have a property that they own, that they live in, that they can utilize the equity from it to purchase the next property. And the reason why I bring this up is because I think there's a correlation between all of this and the definition of our inventory problems that we're having. I thought this was really interesting. I found out that our inventory as of the end of December of 2022, we were down to less than 500,000 properties for sale in the entirety of the United States. So less than 500,000. You guys, just to give you guys a little context, okay? A normal listing year, like that we're kind of used to, a normal listing year over the period of 12 months is going to produce 2 million, 2.5 million listings, okay? And we definitely don't end up with only 500,000 on the market at the end of the year, okay? That's not a good sign. I would tell you that also during the peak of the real estate bubble, when we had the most distressed properties on the market, we had about 4 million units on the market then. Okay. So that's an indicator to me of all the distressed properties. So that 2 to 2.5 million would be normal. I think everyone's expecting a significant decline in inventory this year. Everyone's nervous about it. Let's just lay the cards on the table, right? All these different things that you see, I think, have created an interplay that's going to make 2023 very interesting. I think you're going to see extreme regional differences. So there's going to be areas where, like our area, northern New Jersey, the Northeast over here, when you see extreme inventory lack, and you're going to see prices maintain and hold relatively stable by comparison to places that got really overheated, okay, who traditionally had not been. You're going to see some pretty extreme regional differences, and you're going to see bigger house price falls, I think, there. I do think that the pivots in terms of how the market changes is going to be really, really fast. All right. Now, don't forget, from 2013 to 2022, we have seen house prices come up slowly at first, and then through COVID, et cetera. We saw, some of us have seen a 40% increase in our property values since 2022. So into 2022. So the question is really going to be, what kind of value loss do we see? And I think that value loss is going to be directly tied to, of course, interest rates. All right. We see our weakest our weakest house performance when the interest rates tick up to close to and over that 6% mark. Okay. That's where we see that kind of dead stop, right? Where things stop moving and inventory just sort of stops, because we basically create what's called demand destruction. All right. What it is that equity buyer seller, that person that I just described to you, that equity person, the person with the equity doing the move up or the move down, they don't want to list their house anymore. Why should they? They're comfortable. They might have issues with the house that they're in. It might be a little too small, but it might be a little too big. Maybe they don't love it as much as they used to. Maybe it doesn't always fit their needs anymore. But given the option of moving during a 5.875 and higher interest rate market, they're not going to do it. They're going to sit tight because that interplay in their gut of my house is an investment versus my house is my home and my shelter and the place where I raise my family, that interplay is going to play itself out. People, we can sort of sometimes be like herd animals in the sense that we don't list if we don't see anybody else listing, right? And the less listings there are, the more demand destruction we create, right? The more demand we destroy. How about let's put it that way? Okay, so if that person with the equity house isn't listing, then there's nothing for the first-time home buyer to buy, and there's nothing for them to purchase. It's kind of this weird endless cycle. Okay, when the market is good, investment brain kicks in, and they go, "Well, the market's oh my God, I could sell my house for the highest ever, and I could get a new mortgage at 2.75." Investor me has got my investor hat on, right? And then in a market like this, investor hat comes off, and instead there's but it's our house and our home. It's our loving shelter. We're happy here, cozy. That hat comes on. It's an interesting kind of behavioral interplay, right? We've seen a couple of listing dumps previously. We saw it during COVID. In COVID, there was a significant listing dump. I don't know if you guys remember, but listing just sort of stopped altogether. And of course, as of June of 2022, we saw a significant listing dump there as well. Everything just went kaplooey. So if the interest rate stays above 5.87, 6, if it stays there, I think the home price, you're going to see home price decreases. You're going to need those home price cuts, discounts in order to get the property sold. If you see it drop below that, okay, I think you're going to have a little bit more action. So what do we think the home price decline is going to be in 2023? 6%, 7.5%. That's probably national. That isn't necessarily a regional question. And for those of you that have homes that have grown by 44% since 2013, a loss of 6%, 7.5%, that's not really anything. That's, who cares, right? In some ways, because you've made your significant growth. Okay. All right, guys. For those of you who are interested, please feel free to reach out. We are doing our 2023 winter pool party for all of our friends, colleagues, and clients. If you are interested in attending this pool party, can you please shoot us a text at 917-992-3098. If you want to come to the pool party, let me know. We'll get an invitation out to you if you haven't already gotten one. All right. Look forward to talking to you guys next week. And in the meantime, I guess we're still Happy New Year's-ing each other, so Happy New Year's.